Elsa Schiaparelli escaped the German invasion of France in 1940 with 3 dresses tucked in her bag. Later, she wrote an essay for Vogue titled Needles and Guns and touched on all the magazine's wartime preoccupations. It was the U.S. government, not Paris, that extended the long, lean look of the decade. Restrictions on valuable materials during the war gave rise to a new fashion credo for American women: fewer, simpler, better. Vogue's coverage of the war went far beyond the world of fashion. Many staffers looked to international editions of the magazine for a network of information. Lee Miller documented the horrors of the conflict in Europe. Mary Jane Kempner reported from Asia. Irving Penn shared his experiences, as did photographer and prisoner of war Constantine Jaffe. Lee and Carl Erickson sketched and recounted the exodus of refugees from Senlis, France, to Paris. Take a job, release a man to fight, declared the 1943 September issue of Vogue. Throughout the war, the magazine threw the spotlight on the changing role of women. From the Women's Army Auxiliary Corps to Lady Diana Cooper and her one-woman farm, proving that a woman's work is everywhere. But women's double-duty lives were cut short toward the end of the war. One journalist summed it up with an article called "Back on the Pedestal, Ladies." The follow-the-leader relationship between French and American fashion was upended by the war. Chanel shuttered her business in 1939, and while the business of couture limped along in Paris, no news was forthcoming from the city. The Germans had suspended the publication of French Vogue in 1940. The void was filled with American designers, couturiers like Adrian, whose claim to fame was as a costumer in Hollywood, Mam Boucher, who'd recently returned from Paris, Charles James, who approached fashion with a sculptor's hand, Ukraine-born Valentina, and Claire McCardle, who was known as the mother of American sportswear. In October 1944, Vogue was able to publish the first report from the French couture since 1940. The following spring, it reprinted the Paris edition's special Liberation issue. A soft, curvy line was already forming in fashion before the conflict in Europe. Christian Dior had ditched the shoestring silhouette with his post-war debut. Dubbed the New Look, the collection was one of the most influential in fashion history. With their high heels, nipped waists, and full skirts, Dior's women looked like beautiful upside-down flowers. His vision of fashion was forward-thinking and fresh, yet inspired by the Belle Epoque curves of his mother's time. There was a rich symbolism in the New Look. What the world needed then was love, and Dior delivered it in the form of a dress.